It's 2011. You just finished washing your hands, hopefully, after that magical last pee before the movie begins. You walk down the long, carpeted hallways. You remember movie theaters, right? And into the auditorium. Let's call it number 3. Great movies go down in 3. Your ticket stub confirms. You walk up the stairs, each illuminated with small plastic-covered bulbs, guiding you, and you see a couple empty seats. So you begin the crab shuffle, right? Butt to faces, knees to heads. But then you hear that whoosh sound as you take your seat. Lights dim as you're shoveling through layered, buttered, freshly popped kernels. And as that last trailer ends, you hear the excited whispers of all the movies that are to be, everybody making plans. And after a little opening scene, screen fades to black and 33 wicked violins cut through the air as Insidious flashes across the screen in blood-dripping red font. And whatever air was left in the auditorium has now been robbed. And in a moment, all in that moment, you're ushered from the real world into James freaking Wan's. Okay, so this is an Insidious movie review. First one, buckle in. I hope you guys come along for the ride. So I just want to start by saying, as a horror aficionado, love all movies, horror's where the heart is. This movie has it all for me. I mean, we're talking about, it was at the 2010 Toronto Film Festival. That's where it made its debut, and it's picked up by a major studio within 4 hours of debuting. 4 hours, okay? So we're dropped in, right? We're dropped in on this family. They seem normal enough. The Lamberts. The parents brilliantly played by Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne. Byrne. Don't think there's an S. She's fantastic. They have 3 small children, 2 boys. Probably around 10. I'm bad at that. And you got a baby girl. They just moved in this new, beautiful home. It's always pretty in movies. And they're dealing with all that comes with that. And let's be honest, packing and unpacking can be a horror movie all on its own. So, you know, normal enough beginning. Then all of a sudden things start happening. You know, little goings on. Some books moved off a shelf that mom had, put there real nice. A couple of things go missing. A box of her sheet music is one of the things she really hones in on, because they have one room where all the stuff is there, all the boxes, everything labeled, and she knows in her bones it was in there and it's gone. Boys, kids claim they didn't do anything with it. Husband pleads the fifth, but mama knows. Mamas always know. So after that, there's this one night we're dropped in on the shot of them all having fun in the living room, baby getting from daddy, and and then all of a sudden, thud. And then there's a scream from the attic. Quick once around by the parents, they're one kid short. So the camera shows this frantic camera shot of them running up the stairs and to go into the attic, right? And then they tear up the stairs and they find their oldest son laying on the ground next to a suspect ladder. So that checks out for them. But the audience, no. We've been shown there's more to it. In the dark recesses of the attic, there was a noise that startled the boy. Okay? So he takes a tumble. Now, they patch it all up. That scene ends kind of like that, right? Nothing too crazy yet. The sun rises on a dark day the next morning when Josh, the dad, Josh Lambert, tries to wake his son up, and he can't. So, little boy, as all shown in the trailers, by the way, decade old though, but shown in the trailers, he's comatose, completely unresponsive. So then we follow the family through all of their testing, as much medical, assistance as they can get, hospitals, everything, and they all come up short. There is no reasonable explanation for why he's in the state he is in, physiologically speaking, so the doctors, they can come up with nothing. So the family, they're all but crushed at this point, as anybody would be. Dad starts spending late nights at work, just not wanting to be home. Patrick Wilson sells this. He really has that I'm in over my head look. Mama, mother taking all the 3 kids, running the house, dealing with that. One is obviously in a vegetative state, and they still have no explanation on that. But the weird stuff doesn't stop happening. James Wan, the direction in this movie, Leigh Whannell, incredible duo. You never really get to get your, take your breath. It does not go easy on the Lamberts. All of a sudden, weird stuff starts happening. And there's this beautiful, incredible scene where mom's playing the piano wonderfully, at least to my lay ears. I always wish I could play piano. But, and her baby monitor. Baby starts crying, right? She's like, what's going on there? So she's going to whatever. And then she hears talking, okay, to baby. Boom. Tears up the stairs, grabs baby. Nothing. Nothing out of the ordinary. She knows what she heard. So after some talking to the husband, who is, obviously skeptical of anything of the supernatural. He thinks it's just his wife is just going through it. And the stress is manifesting in a lot of ways. The reasonable approach. Really easy to insert yourself into Patrick's character there. But he's a good husband. And he's like, all right, let's move. She's convinced it's the house. And you kind of are opened up to a haunted house genre. At least that's how it starts. And I love that genre of the subgenre of the genre film. But so Renee is the wife's name in Rose's character. And at this point, they move. He's like, okay. So this is where it gets interesting, right? As we go into the second act. It's Renee's idea, but they decide because there's no medicinal reasons for their son's current condition, so the couple gets desperate enough to try anything, right? So they bring in a medium. That's Josh's mom knew her whole life from a long time ago, and we get into that a little bit, but we'll leave it at that for now, right? The story goes on. Longtime friends. So enter the daggum Lynn Shay. The always fabulous Lynn Shay. In any movie, any scene she's in, she steals it. Really found her home in the genre film. I'm always a fan. And she plays this like psychic, paranormal ghost hunter manager, Elise Rainier. It's either Rainier, or Rainier. Those IER names they give me the fits. So with her comes another cast of characters. We get the ghost hunters. We get Specs and Tucker, played by the writer, the great Leigh Whannell, who gave us Invisible Man, by the way, and a couple more in this universe, and Angus Sampson, respectively. And they, with them, bring some genuine laughs. I like them. They're not Jar Jar. They're good. And it's a nice tempo break. And to go from one act to another, it's like a comedic line woven in otherwise dark tapestry, And they do it wonderfully. Seriously, the chemistry's awesome. You'll love them. So these paranormal investigators come in, and they say, basically, we get to the point, the house isn't haunted. Your son Dalton is. Boom. They mic drop. So through Elise's explanation of some far out concepts, we get the groundwork for this beautiful universe laid in front of us that we now know here in the future goes on. So she explains to the family there's entities trying to inhabit their son's comatose body, like a derelict ship almost. And they're not friendly. They're not friendly. And with that, she tells them they exist in this dimension called the Further, which is just nuts. This hellish plane with ghouls and memories, and they're all dark, it seems. And they all want to desperately be alive again. And her son's body lays bare. So imagine their son. Imagine hearing that. They'd do anything to get back. This is where Wan, being the horror nerd that he is, James Wan, director, who gave us Saw, and he wanted to make another film where he scared the pants off of you, hope you're not going commando, where he doesn't use blood and guts, that insert Insidious. And he does just that. It's a home run. And so we get, his heart for horror really shines in the second act, especially going into the third. We get multiple entities from another dimension. We get astral projection. Astral projection, and how basically she sends the dad in, who was also a traveler of dreams, and which is how we are explained is the Further and how the son is out in it. It's beautiful. Like I said, shown in the trailer. So it's amazing. You get multiple entities, demons, some of the scariest creatures to ever grace the big screen. One I personally like, lipstick-faced demon. He's fantastic. I mean, seriously, it's worth seeing just for that. The concept of the Further is beautiful. So that's going second into the third act. You see them adventure out, right? And I want to give you as little as possible. You've probably already seen this movie 1,000 times if you're like me, but go experience it again. Go experience it again. I wish I could have known back in 2011 what was happening before me as I was sitting in that theater. That a universe was being created that would end up defining horror in the 2010s. And I mean it, man. I mean it. It's not just another genre film, although I'm a huge fan. That would be enough for me. But James Wan is a true talent. He's a true fan of horror. And it shows. Him and Whannell just, it's an incredibly well-written script that is cohesive and copacetic with the directing and the cinematography. It all is interwoven to make just this an awesome, smooth, well-paced movie. You never, ever lose interest. And one of the biggest reasons for that, and I call it the MVP, I'll say it. It's something most people maybe don't give a lot of credence to. Joseph Bishara. He did the score and sound design. Unbelievable. It took memorable scenes, and when you insert his sound design, those violins and the atmosphere he creates, they make them unforgettable. And it does the same thing for this movie, and it did that for me. It made this an unforgettable movie. It went from good to great, and it's the sound design. So it's haunting. So the descent into madness this film takes as we go third act, climax, it's a beautiful journey to experience. You get so many different elements of the horror film and subgenres all wrapped into this one awesome package. So you know what I say? What else you got going on right now? It's on Netflix streaming. I'd say pop you some popcorn, get you a soda, some pop, depending on what side of the Mason-Dixon line you're from, a little bit of candy, and watch this movie, man. Do it when the moon is high. You know horror movies are best enjoyed dark, and it's an incredible movie. I don't care if you've seen it 1,000 times like I have. Insidious is always a journey worth taking. Glad you made it all the way through. If you liked it, enjoyed it, consider liking the video, subscribing, a little bit of bell icon to know when the next one's coming. God bless you. I appreciate you taking the time. Comment down below. Let me know your favorite Insidious universe film and your favorite scene in this one.